Thank you so much, Bwana DG, and also our chair, IBC. Before I bring to the podium our cabinet secretary, I wish to say a few or make a few remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor indeed and privilege to welcome you today for this launch of the roadmap to violence-free 2027 Uchaguzi bila noma. By the way, from where I come from, my background, being a clergy, when the congregation has sat for a while, you ask them to stand up and stretch a little bit. Can we just stand for 1 minute? Some of you have got wristwatches, I believe, smart watches that normally indicate that it's time for you to stand and stretch. If you have done so, you may be seated. There's wisdom behind that. This roadmap, distinguished our guests who have come to be with us this morning, is a significant part of our rapid response initiative and is a testament to our collective journey at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission as we mark 98 days since assuming office as the fourth commission. This milestone is a clear demonstration of our shared commitment in ensuring that the 2027 general election is peaceful, inclusive, credible, and reflective of the aspirations of all Kenyans. Elections, ladies and gentlemen, are a fundamental pillar of our democracy. They provide citizens with an opportunity to exercise their constitutional and democratic right to choose their leaders and participate in shaping the future of our country. However, our history reminds us that if mishandled, elections can be seasons of heightened tension, division, intolerance, and in some instances, violence. As we move towards the 2027 general elections, as our chair, IBC, has clearly explained, we must therefore make a deliberate choice that competition for political office must never come at the expense of human life, national unity, or the peace and stability of our country. So the launch of this roadmap is therefore not just the unveiling of a document. No, it's a call to action. It's a collective commitment by institutions, leaders, communities, and citizens to begin the work of prevention of violence early enough, rather than responding when tensions have escalated. We are paying attention to what we call EWA, early warning and early response. You have heard me say it again and again. We are not a reactive commission. We are a preventive commission. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission is deeply concerned by the growing manifestations of political intolerance, hate speech, ethnic contempt, disinformation, and other forms of divisive rhetoric in our public discourse. Words spoken carelessly by leaders and influential individuals can deepen divisions, fuel mistrust, and create conditions that may ultimately threaten national peace and cohesion. We must therefore remember that leadership carries responsibility. So as we approach the 2027 elections, political leaders, aspirants, opinion shapers, and all those with public influence must exercise restraint, responsibility, and patriotism. We must reject the politics of exclusion at all costs and embrace politics founded on ideas, issues, and service to the people. The roadmap we launched today provides an important framework for coordinated action, achieving violence-free elections that cannot be left to only one institution. It requires a multi-sectoral approach, collaborative approach, bringing together various non-governmental and governmental institutions, national, county governments, security agencies, political actors, civil society, the media, interfaith leaders, and in our midst are quite a number of our interfaith leaders, development partners who have been very supportive, communities, and the youth, among others, as has been explained. So our main focus as a commission must be on prevention. That's why we have this launch today. We must strengthen early warning and early response mechanisms, address triggers to conflicts before they escalate, counter hate speech and disinformation. And for your information, ladies and gentlemen, you have begun to see action. As Commissioner Kedogo said, when a baby is born, you give him or her time to grow teeth. And once the teeth are begun to emerge, mothers, you know what happens. We have begun biting. And this one is going to be done fairly, but without any favor when it comes to those who trigger hate speech. Apart from that, ladies and gentlemen, in this early warning, we want to make sure we address triggers to conflicts before they escalate, counter hate speech and disinformation, promote dialogue and reconciliation, and ensure that communities are equipped with the tools and platforms necessary to resolve disputes peacefully. The youth who form a critical constituency in our electoral and democratic processes must be placed at the center of peace-building efforts, and that's why we have what we call this transgenerational dialogue with our young people. They must not be viewed as instruments of political violence, but as partners and leaders in the peace-building process in Kenya. Fellow Kenyans, peaceful elections begin long before polling day. They are built through the language we use, the institutions we strengthen, the grievances we address, and the relationships we build among communities. The work begins now, and it begins with you and me. Can you please look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, the work begins now, and it begins with you and me. That's the collaboration we are talking about. So as the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, we reaffirm our commitment to working with all stakeholders to promote national unity, peaceful coexistence, and social cohesion throughout the electoral cycle. We will continue to strengthen our efforts in monitoring and responding to hate speech and ethnic contempt, facilitating dialogue, supporting peace structures, and promoting responsible leadership and citizenship. We must all recognize that peace is a shared responsibility. It cannot be left to one institution. And every Kenyan has a role to play. Every leader must choose responsible speech over inflammatory rhetoric. Every political party must place the interests of the country above vested political interests. Every citizen must reject incitement, violence, and manipulation. As we launch this roadmap today, that we call Roadmap to Violence-Free 2027 General Elections, uchaguzi bila noma, Let it serve as our collective declaration that Kenya will not repeat the mistakes of the past. Let us commit ourselves to an electoral process where political competition does not divide, where diversity is celebrated rather than weaponized, and where every Kenyan can participate freely and safely in the democratic process. The 2027 general elections must demonstrate the maturity of our democracy and the strength of our national cohesion. Let us therefore walk this journey together with vigilance, responsibility, courage, and an unwavering commitment to sustainable peace. And with these remarks, I wish to thank all the institutions, partners, and stakeholders who have contributed to the development of this roadmap and who continue to work tirelessly towards a peaceful Kenya. We appreciate all partners who continue to be key players towards the achievement of the NCIC mandate. Special thanks to UNDP and COICA for the constant support towards the realization of the roadmap, engaging the youth through the transgenerational conversations, town halls, hate speech monitoring, peace messaging, and the development and dissemination of key policies. We also want to thank the executive. We thank His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya together with the leadership in the executive, legislators, or those who are in both the National Parliament, Senate, county governors, and all leaders of goodwill for their support. We have called on our leaders through courteous calls, asking for support. And I whispered this morning to our chief guest, His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and I've also been on our Minister, our CS Interior, that if there was a time NCIC needed all the support, like IEBC, and the agencies especially that are working through what we call the multi-sectoral collaboration is now. If there was a place, our chief guest and our cabinet secretary, you really push to making sure there is adequate resourcing is in NCIC. Why? Before elections, we must safeguard the peace landscape of this country so that that vision that the president has, all of us have, what we would want to see, what we have had is actualized. I close by saying, together, let us choose peace. Together, let us protect our democracy. Together, let us build a united and cohesive Kenya, for we are a people guided by one people, one nation with a shared destiny. Thank you so much.